Hello once again, and welcome to today's webinar, the Meeting Room Assembly Line. As mentioned, I'm Tyler Small, Technical Support Specialist here at PureLink, specialized mostly in our icon control language, which we will get into down the line. But for now, we start with the Meeting Room Assembly Line and what might not make a whole lot of sense until the end of this presentation and what these two boxes represent a lot more than the normal packaging and normal distribution of our PureLink products. But before we get into the specifics of our meeting room assembly line, we want to go back through our story here at PureLink. The company was founded in 2002, and our tagline that we like to use at trade shows or in calls is that we are the biggest company you might not have ever. Over 2 decades ago, our journey began when our founder, Minsu Park, became one of his many cutting edge technological inventions, if you will, starting with the ability to kind of bring to life matrix switching and get through the hurdles and hiccups of HDCP, although they still give us issues in today's day and age. But back in 2002, he kind of revolutionized the ability to have cross-platform matrix switching and the overall capabilities of video switching from source to display. And in that time, you see the laundry list that we have here of industry firsts that have been put into the world and that we stand behind as we continue to try and be on the cutting edge of the ever growing and ever so fast world of technology. So in 2002, the most notable was the world first DVI to fiber cable, and then the DVI matrix switching, like we talked about, going alongside the HDCP emulation. And then it continued with pioneered RS-232 over fiber, proprietary UHD scaling. And then as we get more into today's day and age, it's been more towards the less point-to-point communication of video and audio and more the AV over IP, the presentation and collaboration switching for meeting rooms and huddle rooms. And then, of course, the launch of icon control and automation, which we're going to get into later in this presentation, alongside our ever-growing list of USB-C and Dante solutions, and then PushGo, the first all-in-one, fully pre-programmed meeting room solution. Here at PureLink, we do have 6 or so sister brands, 7 actually, my apologies. Icon, as we started with, which is our proprietary software, and Easy Language, which is the easiest programming language out in the field. It became the groundwork for PushGo and the meeting room solutions that we offer. But to go back to our basis, as we talked about with that cross-platform matrix switching, we still have our Max 2 and Pure Media lines, which are the cross-platform matrix switchers from as small as 20 by 20 frames to 286 by 286, the size of most refrigerators in homes, giving the capabilities of CAT, HDMI, fiber, SDI, you name it, for easy in, easy out. Pure Stream, which is our AV over IP line, so whether that is point-to-point communication, AV over IP streaming, we have plenty of options there. HD Tools is that umbrella term that we use for all of our point-to-point solutions for extension for any cable type you could imagine. And then Total Wire is our line of cabling as well. Our clients, we have 400 plus clients from several different brand names that you are most likely to recognize at home. As you can see here from our list, we have some of our earliest backings in companies like Apple, and then in today's day and age for mission critical equipment, TAA compliant equipment, or just the reliability for several different cruise lines who don't come to port for months or have very little to no time to troubleshoot or swap things out and need something that is going to last them and be reliable without being able to call our all-encompassing technical support line. But now, before we wrap up on PureLink's background and go into more of the meat of this presentation, we want to start with an overarching term that a lot of you, whether it's in your actual office at home or some of the integrators that we're so happy to be joining us today, that see these issues when they are installing tech for these meeting rooms, conference rooms, whatever you may have, the conference meeting room failures. So on average, 72% of employees lose meeting time due to tech issues, AV malfunctions. 1 of 4 meetings lose about 11 minutes just trying to start the meeting. Managers spend 35 to 50% of time in meetings. Even small disruptions hurt productivity. And this results in hundreds of lost productivity hours per room per year. And that can come for a multitude of reasons, whether it's the tech that has been installed being outdated or not being adequately passed down on the how-tos or SOPs to be able to accomplish them, whether it's the just lack of tech in general, the age-old using the camera that comes within your laptop, plugging it directly in HDMI to the TV, and still somehow having those issues because of the compatibility or just the lack of quality of the products, or the larger scale where when more technology comes into the mix is more likely to be running into some issues because of the amount of hoops and hurdles and clientele that you have to reach out to get something resolved in those larger corporations. And for a majority of those solutions, the cost outweighs the necessity to upgrade, even though, as we mentioned, hundreds of hours per year are being lost in all of those technical troubleshooting mishaps. Integrated AV systems typically cost between $18,000 to $50,000 between switchers, cameras, and controllers. Professional AV integration averages $75 to $150 an hour. Industry recognized certifications range from $165 to $700 an hour per exam, typically required to use the software. And just whether that be on the control side and getting antiquated with a control language software, or it's the actual hardware itself, usually being mismatched for that best available price. Again, all those issues can come back up once what always seems to be the most important meeting of the day is stalling to get out of the starting track. And what is required for a meeting room upgrade, as we just mentioned? So you're typically going to need your presentation switcher or collaboration hub. You're typically going to need a central control processor if you want to have that ease of control and feedback for what is going wrong and not having to go back into a rack or back into behind the TV to see if something is unplugged. The necessary cabling, necessary and reliable cabling, of course. And then the compatibility with your source and display. If you're trying to add all these aspects, majority of the time, end users are not going to want to change their source, whether it's the laptop or wherever they're running their meetings through. And they're definitely not going to want to change their display because they've already been utilizing it and want to lower that cost as much as possible. So you need something that's going to fit in between without causing any hiccups on the start and end of the video transmission process. So it kind of leaves you with 2 different options for meeting room solutions. You either have the modular kits or the custom installs. So you see with the custom installs, it takes days to weeks to deploy and just map out what's going to happen. There's frequent support calls and high variance. It takes until you eventually get to a neutral ground of being able to run those meetings efficiently. Where with the modular kits, they're pre-engineered and lab tested, and they install in a single afternoon, but who knows, alongside being easy to replicate and easier to support, but who knows how available those are. And again, when it comes to those modular kits and all coming from one, sometimes that causes the pricing to go up, or the process of getting all that equipment to take a little bit more time because you're trying to stay all within that modular kit. And it causes a lack of reliability, or a lack of flexibility, I should say. So we thought here at PureLink, why can't there be both? Why can't there be a way to have the customization that you want for your meeting room, because no two meeting rooms are alike, while at the same time having it be a modular kit, having it be something that can be deployed not over a month or 2 months, but in that short window, because whenever you're dealing with an end user, or if it's yourself, everything needs to be now, especially in the world of tech that's always moving so fast. So that's what caused us to look into what we like to call the IKEA approach for meeting rooms. What if setting up a meeting room was as easy as assembling flat pack furniture, excuse me. Everything arrives in one box, pre-designed, beautifully organized, and ready to work. We thought that was a notable initiative IKEA has taken, and I'm sure majority of you at home are utilizing IKEA furniture. I know personally I am. And with the customization kit, having everything there at once in one afternoon, you can go from nothing to done. So that's what we tried putting in the AV world with PushGo. PushGo, as we show here in one of our pamphlets, it is a fully pre-programmed plug and play meeting room solution. So the biggest part of it is going back to that icon easy control and the ease of programming that it gives you, that we'll go into in just a minute. But it allows us to be able to make these PushGo packages pre-programmed. So they're ready to use out of the box, eliminating installation complexity. And that goes for the equipment within the box, alongside any third-party equipment that you're looking to control as well. It's a complete solution, so it includes all essential components for a fully functional meeting space. Plug and play, deploy in minutes with no technical expertise required. So it eases the process for whoever might be installing it. Built-in compatibility, works seamlessly with Zoom, Teams, WebEx, and more. And it's scalable, adapts to any room type, from small huddle rooms to large presentation environments, whether you're looking through our 5 available packages or if you need any customization for those packages. And as we say about the scalability of these packages, going from left to right here using our ski and snowboarding terminology for the size of the packages, starting with Alta, which is a core presentation and switching capabilities, which is utilized through a included MVS41, which is a 4x1 HDMI switcher for any smaller operations you may have of the same few laptops you're always going to be using, or if you want one to be a media player or some video source to swap between television to meeting room or whatever you might have. This is our smallest option, the easiest to just get something launched for you. TAOS, which is our expanded BYOD support, so it includes our Collabra, which is shown there in the dongles connected to the laptop, which allow you for wireless options for showing your screen in the screen within the meeting room, or the online call itself. Aspen, which is an advanced switching for more dynamic or flexible meeting spaces. So that's where we get into our PS610, which is the switcher for the next 3 options, which is a 6x1 presentation seamless switcher. But that can always be added, adjusted, or anything else you might need. Veil is with that same presentation switcher, but also comes included with our HuddleCam 500, which has the AI PTZ features for smart camera, and the Stow, which is our fully inclusive biggest package that we have available, which includes a room scheduler, which you see there in the picture behind it, alongside a VIP 3020X, which is an AI PTZ camera as well, but more suited for those larger meeting spaces, and just gives you plenty of flexibility and plenty of availability to go as little or as large with this initiative as you would like. And we would walk you through it. We would tailor it to you to figure out which package is right for you. So we would get some information from you, like the number of participants that are normally going to be in this meeting space, the one touch system startup and preset configurations. So figuring out what you would want included for the control capabilities, whether that is the display turning on and off, whether it is the lighting or curtains or anything else within the room. The one slogan we have for our Icon control line is, if it has control capabilities, Icon can't control it. Customer logo on the touch screen as well, so we can customize the way it looks or the amount of buttons available for you if you want to limit the amount of issues that could come from somebody plugging away at the touch panel controller, and obviously the ability for it to work within any of your online conference call platforms. Alongside that, the room scheduler, like we mentioned, which auto syncs with Microsoft and Google Calendars to just show the availability of the room and keep track of the meeting link information and what's going to be included in that meeting and anything else you would want to throw into that. The camera, so the first three packages, like I mentioned, just go with the customer laptop camera, or if they do have a PTZ camera, we would allow control to be added to the touch panel to control that PTZ camera, as long as it is VISCA certification. The displays, as we mentioned, microphone, which comes with the extension microphone or the built-in microphone for the HuddleCam 500 in that Veil package. Amplification, we could also work with, if you have speakers within the room, speakers at the same time, or cables and accessories. All the cables come within that PushGo package, so it truly is plug and play. And then we tried at the same time to really emulate what IKEA does best, and what better at IKEA than their manuals. So we tried making it as easy as possible for anyone to be able to install, or to be able to look back on what could be going wrong if a cable gets unplugged, or if something is not showing when it should be, or when you don't remember which input was for what. With the labeling we give you in the packaging alongside these manuals, we show you the parts that come included with it, all individually wrapped for the cables and labeled for all the pieces within this. And then the step-by-step instructions of what to plug in where, what you should be looking for, and what you should be striving for results-wise, whether it's just powering on or seeing the PushGo logo. And then obviously this would link you to the application diagram, which goes more into the actual control capabilities and what was pre-programmed in your setup and how to use it. But as we mentioned, this all wouldn't be possible. We've had point-to-point solutions for 20 plus years, since 2002, like I mentioned. So it's always been possible to package all of our stuff up together from the source to display for a meeting room, or for any package that we consistently see ourselves selling to, whether it's AV over IP, we could do bundles, whether it's for our camera line, we could do bundles as well. There's always been the ability for us to, since we have all the products in between. But the one thing we were missing until we've launched Icon Easy Control 3+ years ago is we didn't have the most necessary part of these packages, is not only the ability to control all the black boxes in between source and display, but the ease of being able to build these projects quicker than most, while also being able to copy and emulate and replicate them. So thanks to Easy Control, we have been able to go through with this PushGo initiative and see some success with it so far. But let's go quickly through the nitty gritty of Icon Easy Control and what is capable of it, what's in store with it. This is a very layman's term description. I apologize for anyone trying to get certified in control by the end of this presentation. We will not do an adequate enough job, but just to go through the 5 capabilities seen in Icon quick enough. The first one is LAN control protocol, which you will see in a majority of products. So there's 4 different protocol within TCP that Icon supports. So TCP on its own, which stands for Transmission Control Protocol, ensures for connection between data and transmission. This is where we see very often in AV switchers or DSPs where command acknowledgement is critical, where you need to see the reliable connection alongside the feedback from it to know what input is selected or what channel you're running on. And this is what PureLink products majority of the time will use. UDP, which stands for User Data Protocol, which is fast connectionless protocol for low latency control, but without delivery guarantees. So that is when you need speed over feedback. So lighting systems, or paging triggers where speed matters more than reliability, like triggering a scene or multicast paging for lighting. HTTP, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is widely used for RESTful APIs or browser-based device control. So if some are only utilize control through their web graphical user interface, this is where you would see sending get or post commands to an AV over IP decoder or projector with embedded web GUI control endpoints. And then lastly, it's WebSocket protocol, which is persistent bidirectional communication channel, ideal for real-time updates. So you see this a lot with occupancy sensors or camera PTZ statuses and a dashboard interface. If you just want that constant feedback of where it's looking at or if there's any radar signal going off. Second is serial control protocols. So there's 3 different that are supported by Icon. RS-232, which is point-to-point serial protocol for short distance, low speed control. So this is one of the older forms of control that is still very much apparent in the AV world, whether that's for control projectors, older AV switchers, or legacy modems via DB9 cables. RS-422, which is full duplex differential protocol, supporting longer distances and multiple receivers. So if you need for broadcast gear, industrial sensors where one controller sends commands out to a network of several receivers. And then RS-485, which is half duplex, multi-point differential protocol for a robust long distance communication. So that's building automation systems, HVAC, lighting, some BiAmp or Tessera DSPs or access control panels would be some protocols that utilize this as opposed to 232 or 422. I/O control or input-output control. This is what uses digital or analog signals to detect trigger events. They're typically binary signals. So the inputs could be detecting button presses, sensor triggings, or contact closures, while the output will be activating LEDs, buzzers, or sending signals to other systems. So examples of what you would use this control for is triggering a room automation scene when a contact closure from a table button is detected. So a lot of presets that need to trigger out to just based off of one input triggering going off. Next is IR control. This is the most common for home theater, obviously, or just homes in general. This sends a modulated light pulse to control devices with IR receivers. So an example of this would be controlling TVs, obviously, projectors, or sound bars while using an IR blaster to mimic remote commands. The Icon, in multiple ways, offers not only IR blaster capabilities or IR extender capabilities, but also IR learning throughout our products. And then the last is relay. Relay control is electrically switches for high voltage or high currency circuits using low voltage signals. So an example of this would be activating motorized shades, powering on amplifiers, or toggling light circuits. So those 5 protocols and all the subcategories of LAN, COM, IR, IO, or relay are all included within Icon's controller line and within our Easy Control IDE software. So this allows us to be pre-programmed for seamless push-go integration, to control all devices within the push-go packages alongside third-party equipment, and it just simplifies complex AV system operations. And we will just quickly look through the interface now to show this. So this is the industry's easiest programming platform, which won awards at Infocom for Best New Product of the Year. And it is because of what I keep referring to as easy language, but easy language on its own might not mean much to you at home, but what it basically means within our software is that it will allow you to write out your codes in plain English while also just being through a multitude of drop-down options. So you can write lines of code all through mouse clicks. On the back end of it, through our driver database that our team is building, that is built for all of our PureLink products and is continuing to build for third-party products, is the JavaScript drivers on the back end that you can easily in your user interface use through that mouse clicking, through that easy language to be able to translate and just say in plain English, I want my switcher to switch to this input, or I want my lighting system to be turned off at this time, whatever you may need. It's all done with this easy language. It also allows you to autofill, so it'll continue to, as you go down the line, based off what command you're trying to send to what device you're trying to send it to, and how many variables are included within that individual featured command. It will just get less and less in terms of options, so that way you don't have to keep looking through the API or keep looking to figure out what options are available for you because they continue to go down and decrease in volume. It also gives you code hints. So we have examples of every command type you will send if you just type the $ in the JavaScript portion of it, because obviously the software itself can be written in JavaScript or in easy language, depending on if you're trying to copy and paste or just want to go based off the ID numbers of all the buttons. That's more of the specifics. However, if you ever want to make sure you are utilizing the right code and you just type the $, it shows the full list of available JavaScript commands and their definition and even an example use. So you can make sure that you're using the right language. And then of course we have the easiest copy and pasting and cloning. So there's several different examples of this, whether it is in the user interface, you could save everything as an exportable template to send to another project or send to another colleague or coworker, or even just to use it on another page. But alongside that, you can copy all of the codes, reuse the codes through multiple buttons as features or functions, or just be able to extract all the text for any of the more complicated buttons or events you want to copy and just use it in your next project. Going alongside that, easy graphic creation. So as we mentioned back in the push-go list of custom installs that you can do, we could upload any image or project or even have video on the touch panels as well for a confidence monitor, or if you just want to show any streamable video on your touch panel. Easy automation as well. So there's, whether you're trying to just create user interface events that will just be triggered via button pushes on your touch panel, or if you want schedulers, timers, or on startup, on close, on any other aspects that happen when nothing happens. So whether it's the end of the day and you want the room to shut off, or if a device ever goes offline, you want to alert something or someone, those can all be easily automated as well. Again, still using that same easy language, as you see here in the example of get the fan temperature to make sure nothing is overheating, or on message to print all the received string if you're using either RS-232 control or TCP control, where you're going to be getting the feedback back from those devices. And then going out of the user interface and more into the project manager, we also have an easy project management because of the organization and ability to change the ID number or name of the devices you're controlling alongside any of the other aspects of your functions that are used for multiple projects or your actual touch panel as well. We didn't go through the actual individual products offered, whether it's the 10-inch touch panel we offer, the 4-inch wall mount, but all of those come with the control processor within them. So if you ever are trying to figure things out or figure out if your device is online, you can figure that out with a search on the network for all icons products that are on the same subnet mask as your adapter. Driver organization as well, so you can organize the most up-to-date drivers if you're trying to add new features or functionality to the devices you're trying to control. Alongside the ability to build your own driver. So obviously we would be happy here at PureLink to build a driver for you for a device you're trying to control or anything else like that. But if you need to or just have the desire to build something out for yourself for a new product, we have the ease of JavaScript and all those same hints and helps and error messages that allow you to build that out on your own. And like I just mentioned, the diagnostic console and problems reporting, so nothing will get uploaded to your touch panel if there are any errors within your project and the code you are building. So if any of this would interest you, whether the push-go package on its own or you see the easy control and want to see how it stacks up to some of the competitors, we'd be happy to point you in the direction of our test drive program, which is where you can try any of our PureLink products for 30 days just to get your hands on it, see how it works within your system. And by day 29, you say, this isn't for us, we'd be happy to take it back from you. And within that time, if there are control capabilities on it, we would be happy to walk you through it, sit down with you for a one-on-one, or just go over the capabilities that come within. So if any of this or anything that we went over today interests you, or you have any questions, or you want to say I was wrong about something, feel free to join the PureLink community. We'd be happy to hear from you and see any of your support. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And especially on YouTube, we have a growing library of videos on our icon control, whether it's how-to videos or capabilities in general, alongside all of our products that we want to show the capabilities of or show some of our newer lines that are coming within this year or next. We would be happy to go through each and everything with you, but you can see it all there. And of course, you can contact us. sales@purelink.av.com, or if you have more of a technical support question, you could email support@purelink.av.com or call the same number, email the same one as well. If you have a technical question, it'll get to the right person. But like I mentioned, my name is Tyler. I am a part of the technical support team here, specializing in our control capabilities and software. I thank you all for being with us today, and I will stay on for another minute or so if there are any other questions. But once again, thank you for coming to PureLink University for another week.